So Mining Indaba has always been something that we've always wanted to put a stronger focus on. We were here last year, and this year what we have done differently is that we did it last year as well, but we have put a physical stand in order for our customers, in order for prospective and future customers and partners to come and have a conversation with us around our evolving portfolio, our technology portfolio, in order for us to actually show that MTN is participating in the advancement of mining's future. There is a lot of activity happening around the mining industry, and it's really about how does mining become a lot more efficient, how do we increase production, how do we ensure that we're increasing safety, and at the same time also ensuring that the communities around are also benefiting from what mining actually produces. So I think at MTN, what we try and do is that we incorporate a whole elements in terms of the solutions that we provide. One, we work with partners. We don't just produce our own solutions. So we know that innovation does not necessarily just belong to one, but it's really just the ecosystem. So a lot of the things that we do is also through our partners. And also, in terms of engaging with the customers, it's really trying to solve the issues that they're having at hand. So it's not about taking a solution and just box fitting it into the environment, but rather what is it that they're trying to solve, and that we ensure that we bring that holistic approach. We've done quite a lot of great partnerships already in terms of some of the test cases that we've done. And I think that's really the value proposition that we are bringing. So mining, as you know, it is proliferant across the continent, and in South Africa is one of the biggest employers in the country. And I think it's important, as part of the legacy that we own, is that how do we as MTN, which is also a company, the biggest telecommunication company across Africa, how do we participate on that journey? So we've put specifically a strong focus on that, and also because mining, a lot of the mining organizations are actually across the country. So in areas where there isn't really real accessibility to telecommunications. So it's important as well that with the advent of newer technologies such as 5G, etc., that they start taking advantage of some of our networks and how we are developing our network across the country. So mining is an obvious choice, purely because of also the economic benefits that it has, but also it can marry our advancement in the investments that we're doing in terms of 5G and the network that we're building out across the country. So in terms of the mining industry, there's a lot of issues around. The president spoke a little bit earlier when he was talking about efficiencies of the mines of the past, and that a lot of the newer, let's say, mining that is also happening is about going back to the old mines and actually extracting, some of the value that necessarily would not have been done in the past, but with newer technologies they're able to do that. Now, for that to also happen, it's important that these mines are also connected so that they can take advantage of some of the efficiencies that can be derived from that, improve the safety, because I think we've seen that from a safety perspective, we could do a lot better as a country. So how do we do that? And also, how do we ensure that there's better efficiencies and better returns for those companies that are making the investments in those mines? So I think we're able to marry all the different pillars of efficiency, improving safety, and also allowing better value to be extracted from the raw materials that have been extracted. And I think the other point that the president also spoke about is that these mines should also be able then to create efficiencies around the communities that they operate in. So when you think about a 5G private network that can be developed within a specific mining site, that can also be expanded towards the communities at large. So how do we do beneficiation and make sure that the end products are actually, we're adding value from a local perspective? And I think that's really the value that a telecommunications organization such as ourselves can actually bring to the party, to the mining industry. So whenever we deploy any solution, we typically, work alongside the organizations that we're with. We would start off with what is called a proof of concept. And the proof of concept is really derived with the value that that organization would like to typically get. So how are we looking at latency? So latency is, again, the speed at which something actually reacts in order for it to bring the right value. We would look at also coverage. What type of coverage do they need? Where are the areas? Where are the dark spots? that necessarily a network can sometimes miss. So I think all of these elements are quite critical to ensure that the safety elements that this would bring are tested in a very rigorous way. And that way we can build confidence on both sides that once the network is trusted, they can then bring on other elements such as artificial intelligence, machine learning. We can also bring in IoT solutions in order to ensure that potentially some of the vehicles are well tracked. So it's always a step-by-step process in terms of building that solution and never a one big bang approach. And that is the way that allows not only from a management layer that people have some level of trust, but also the people that are actually using the equipment. They themselves can know that this piece of technology is reliable, I can depend on it, and it's also trustworthy enough for the data, the reliability, the safety elements to all coincide and to bring the value that it's meant to bring. So we've done a couple of POCs, we've done a couple of test cases, and we've also deployed with various mines. There's one such that maybe I can't mention the actual name. It's an iron ore mine where some of the things that we're talking about, so we deployed artificial intelligence on top of a 5G private network, and we're able to have reliable data in order to feed it back into the management team, where they were able to look at use cases of how did they improve their efficiencies, and they were able to test that quite reliably. They were able to look at some of the safety measures that I spoke about a little bit earlier. They were also able to look at how do they look at their asset management of some of the solutions that they themselves have deployed through other partners. So I think these type of use cases are things that we should actually be talking a lot more on, and in the future also maybe bring some of our dear customers to actually talk about the benefits that this has actually brought to them. And this is only the beginning. We think that we're right at the forefront where some of the technologies are able to also even go underground, and we talk about smart glasses, smart helmets, the ability to detect gases that could also harm some of the miners that are underground. So the use cases for mining is very, very powerful. It's very strong. Mining remains one of the core economic enablers for employment, for development, for the continent. And I think when you marry it with technology, the future can only be brighter.